If you don't stand your ground, then all that happens is people push you backwards.
Okay, so today we're going to take a deep dive into a quote that it's pretty intense, actually, when you really think about it. It's from
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson, and one of those that kind of hits you right in the gut. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah, those little short ones. I feel like sometimes those are the ones that really,
The ones that stick with you.
yeah, pack the most punch, right?
Yeah, for sure. And this is one of them. The quote is, "If you don't stand your ground, then all that happens is people push you backwards."
Hmm.
Pretty powerful stuff, huh? Every time I read that, I just get this feeling like I got to do something. I got to, take action.
There's that urgency to it, huh?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? What jumps out at you when you hear that?
I mean, there's definitely a sense of, like you were saying, action needing to be taken, but I also think about, like, boundaries,
Yeah.
Like this idea that there's always going to be this back and forth, this push and pull in kind of all of our interactions, and that's just part of being human, right?
Yeah, totally. So let's dig into this idea of standing your ground a little bit, because, it's obviously not just about physical space.
Right.
It's deeper than that.
Yeah, it's more about, I think about it almost like a metaphorical space,
Okay.
So your values, your goals, the things that you believe in, that's your ground, and standing firm in that space means you really got to know where those lines are, where your boundaries are, and then actually being willing to defend them.
Yeah, I like that. And, when I think about this quote, like one example that always pops into my head is Rosa Parks.
Oh, yeah.
Like refusing to give up her seat on the bus.
Powerful.
Like that was standing her ground, right? Against injustice. And look what happened. It sparked a whole movement.
Exactly. And that shows that standing your ground isn't always just about you or, protecting yourself.
Right.
Sometimes it's about, like you said, fighting for what you believe in for something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting because the quote actually suggests that people will try to push you backwards.
Right.
So what do you think about that? I mean, is that always a bad thing, though? Because sometimes a little bit of, pushback can be helpful, right?
Yeah. I mean, think about it like, I don't know if you've ever done any martial arts or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
But, you have a sparring partner. They're pushing back against you. They're pushing you. But it's through that you get better.
Right.
You learn, you grow. It's kind of the same in life, Like if someone gives you some constructive criticism, or if you have a mentor who challenges you, or even just a friend who's honest with you when you're messing up,
Uh-huh.
those are all ways that people push back against us. But it helps us, become better versions of ourselves.
That's a really good point, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not about being totally stubborn and unyielding.
Exactly.
It's more about being able to tell the difference.
Yeah. Discern. Right.
Yeah, when to hold strong and when to be open to, other people's ideas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not always easy to figure out.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
So think about that for a second. Those of you listening.
Mm.
Where in your own life do you feel like you need to stand your ground? Is it at work? Is it in your relationships? Is it with creative stuff that you're doing?
Mm.
Where do you feel like you're maybe, giving in too much? Or on the flip side, where are you being too rigid maybe?
Oh, good question.
It's something to think about for sure.
Yeah.
When I think about the main takeaway from all of this, it seems like standing your ground, it's not about, being a jerk or picking fights.
Right.
It's more about self-respect.
Yeah.
Knowing your own worth and then acting in a way that lines up with that,
Yeah.
even when it's hard.
Absolutely. Yeah, and going back to that idea of pushback, I think it's important to remember that not everyone who pushes back against you is doing it to be mean or, to manipulate you.
So,
Sometimes it's unconscious. Sometimes people are coming from a place of fear or insecurity.
yeah.
The important thing is to be aware of what's going on, and then you can make a choice about how you want to respond. So as you're going through life, all the ups and downs, think of this quote from Jordan Peterson as a reminder that you have a choice. You get to decide where your boundaries are. You get to decide what you believe in. And you get to decide how your story unfolds. Don't let anyone push you backwards unless it's actually helping you move forward in the long run.
That's a great way to put it.
Thanks.
All right, so that's our deep dive for today.
Hope you enjoyed it.
See you next time.
See you.